This is the primal scream of a dying regime.
Pray for our enemies, because we're going medieval on these people. You're just not got a free shot on all these networks lying about the people. The people have had a belly full of it. I know you don't like hearing that. I know you try to do everything in the world to stop that, but you're not going to stop it. It's going to happen.
And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA media. I wish in my soul, I wish that any of these people had a conscience.
Ask yourself, what is my task and what is my purpose? If that answer is to save my country, this country will be saved.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
It's Saturday, 11 July, year of our Lord 2026. A huge week coming up for the War Room posse and everybody associated with making sure we have free and fair elections and that the Democrats don't steal these elections going forward. We're going to go to the ramparts this week. More about this will be developing day by day starting Monday. I want to thank our sponsors. First off, on Birch Gold. Remember, we went through the decline of the purchase power of the dollar and why gold was a hedge. In the that's how we started at the end of the dollar empire to talk to you about this dollar as the central part of Bretton Woods and the global financial system. So as we've warned you, we're going to have a CR. We'll spend more time on that next week to walk through the math. Up through the first 9 months of this fiscal year, $1.4 trillion deficit. What did I say last year when we kicked the can down the road? We were going to have a $2 trillion deficit this year. Why is that important? Because it's got to be refinanced. That goes to the national debt, and 1/3 of the national debt has to be rolled over and refinanced every year. And that's the burdens on Scott Bessent. We'll find out all about it by go to birchgold.com/Bannon, End of the Dollar Empire. The 9th free installment is coming. If you want to order the book, the hard copy, you got to get your order in. They're being reprinted right now. They sold out immediately. We bound the copy of the first 7 editions. 8 and 9 are not in there. 9's coming, and you're going to really, I think, be amazed and learn so much more on the new 9th edition or the 9th installment. They go to everything else. I also want to thank Patriot Mobile 972 Patriot. These great folks down in Texas. Of course, as Texas goes, so goes the nation. So much there. We're going to be actually moving the show and doing the show part of the rest of the summer from Texas, because there's a lot going on there. We want to make sure we're helping organize it, as we always do. I want to thank Jenny and Glenn Story, 972 Patriot. Go talk to someone right now with the East Texas accent. Find out why this is a Christian company that backs your play. 972 Patriot. Do it today. So Kurt Mills, and I think this whole assassination thing is kind of putting, it's the fog of war. So let's think clearly about this. Because now Scott Bessent pulled off at the direction of the president in the MOU, which, as I said at the time, MOU was a disaster. You're not treat a Parsi call. You're not going to get to a signed document. Because you got warring parties there. You got the Iranians today are officially meeting with Oman about the Strait of Hormuz. The president's given them, I think, a deadline today for them to announce, hey, we're not charging any fees. We're not going to charge any tolls. We're not going to clog it up. Yet the Europeans are coming out and saying, hey, there's got to be a little bit of services provided. We'll do it. Let's just open it up. The economics, we took the foot off the neck on the economic war. We hinted we might give them $6 billion. We hinted they may have control. We would set up some sort of control escrow account for their $100 billion of assets that are around the world. We tried to talk about taking sanctions and sanctions relief and letting them sell oil. All of that should just be broomed away. If you're going to be at war with these people, let's be at economic war. I mean, get everybody home, but don't let it up at all. My theory of the case. Otherwise, you're going to just continue on and on and on in this. Kurt Mills, you've been very clear-eyed about all of this. Your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I mean, look, the essential deadlines here are the 60 days that are set by the MOU, notwithstanding that the president himself declared the MOU dead. Clearly that he has green lit or yellow lit people in his own administration to deal with the Iranians. That's what's going on at some level, unclear, in Oman today. Additionally, you have the deadline of the likely Israeli election, October 27th, and you have the U.S. midterms. These are major sort of goalposts that could compel action or lack thereof. I think the neoconservative plan was to sell the president on renewing the war after the midterms. I think this is a craven plan because it hides the agenda from the voters, and the Republicans and whoever pushes this will pay for it in 2028. But that notwithstanding, that was the plan. I have noticed, however, that rhetoric has shifted to, quote, finish the job. Nikki Haley, Danielle Pletka of the American Enterprise Institute, the whole gang is making the case that we should start a renewed war, I think, in August. And a renewed war, there's a ceasefire without much ceasefiring right now, but it's not a full-scale war. A full-scale war looks like a full-scale invasion of Iran. And, I just think that would be unfathomably buffoonish for the United States.
Time out. And people have to understand this is the pressure President Trump's under. Hit rewind on that for a second. They're actually advocating an increased military presence, including potential invasion.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah. I mean, what does finish the job mean? I mean, I don't really know what else we could do vis-a-vis the Iranians. I mean, we could start hitting we could start committing war crimes openly. But I think the reality is that if the U.S. goes back to war in a real way, we're looking at an invasion. And so that's why I believe in either walking away from this conflict entirely or a diplomatic resolution with the Iranians. This is just not America's problem. This is maybe Israel's problem, but it's really a faction within Israel or a perspective on what Israel should do with its future, the Netanyahuist perspective. And they are trying to offload that responsibility onto the United States because they can't take out Iran themselves, or else they would do it.
Here's what I don't understand. The intelligence here, Gorka tells us it's exquisite intelligence. It's been wrong on everything, not small. It's been wrong. And to the fact, and this is why there has to be an investigation. Got to be an investigation October 7th. Haven't seen that. I don't know how the Israelis are coming up and voting for a major, election when they haven't gotten to the bottom of October 7th. And the Israelis, the folks in Israel owe that to the United States as America's greatest ally. We need to understand what happened on October 7th. We saw what happened in the days after. We need to see exactly, and who was complicit. Was there malfeasance? Was it incompetence? But we need to know. And so far, it's just blowing us off, and now they're going to go through an election, and Netanyahu's hid, and the Mossad, quite frankly, has hid from doing that. And we had Katz and these people that wrote that amazing book that's out there, Why Israel Slept. I think we're the only people that spent 2 one-hour sessions on it. And the book is brutal. And people just ought to read that. I think it's called While Israel Slept. It's incredible. But we need to see this because the intelligence services, and I think you're going to see a lot about intelligence coming out, and exactly what the deep state doesn't want you to see. This is why this whole thing on the assassination, it came out of nowhere. Exactly when President Trump is, hey, we got to get out of here. We need maybe an economic plan to continue to take them on. But it's time for us to we've done enough. We've killed the nuclear plan. And by the way, if they start doing nuclear again, just send the Strategic Air Command over and hit them into dust again. We don't need to be there permanently. We don't need to send troops in to go get it. You just don't. Just go bomb them again if it ever comes up. But all of a sudden you hear this intelligence that, oh, he's about to be killed by the Iranians. I mean, and of course, the Iranians, they have the 5 million people last week in the streets. And President Trump says, hey, I didn't realize he was so popular. That's because the information and the intelligence that President Trump is getting is not good intelligence. People are selling narratives. They're not letting the President of the United States see all the intelligence and weigh and measure. And you say, well, Bannon, how can you say that? Well, you watch this week. By Wednesday, you come back and talk to me about the intelligence apparatus, audience. Come back and talk to me. All the left-wing media that covers this, suck on this. You come back by Wednesday or Thursday next week and you tell me about the intelligence apparatus in this nation and our partners overseas and what they have done to the United States of America. I don't trust any of them. I'd cut the CIA by 80%. I'd cut the FBI by 50%. I'd cut a lot of DHS. I'd cut all these, right? They're not helping national security. They're hindering national security. DNI, all those 17, 18, you ought to go through each one and see what's really protecting us from the Chinese Communist Party and the enemies we have inside the gate. Kurt Mills. Listen, what's happening in the streets of Tehran is not the problem. And the nuclear program there was not as urgent. You think what's more important, their nuclear program, wherever it was, getting a bomb in 10 years, or Zorhan Mandami and the John C. Calhouns of these sanctuary cities that are telling you, screw you. We did an invasion of the United States to get 20 million people in here, and you're not going to do anything about it. And if they want to vote, they're going to vote. And you don't have anything to say about it. That's the threat to this country. Kurt Mills.
Yeah, no, the essential pretext for the war was a lie. There was no imminent threat of a nuclear weapon hitting the United States. And so when you had administration officials talking about bombs over New York or London, it's just not true. The Iranians had enriched uranium to some low level. But remember, the former supreme leader, basically for either a mixture of political religious reasons, had banned the proliferation of nuclear weapons. We've now removed him. It's very possible his son and or the coterie around him could lunge for a bomb. But the Iranians have made it pretty clear. I mean, they haven't actually rolled like the North Koreans did in the 2000s. They will reach an accommodation with the United States if the United States plays ball. And if the United States wasn't in this entangling alliance with Israel, in which Israel takes way more than they give, I think we'd have a deal inked and we wouldn't be worrying about this, and we'd be worrying about the actual domestic agenda that President Trump won on in 2016 and 2024. And it's just, this is a distraction. This is a massive distraction.
The Israeli election is a week before. We're November 3rd. They're October 27th. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
How big a deal is that? How big a deal is that?
Huge deal. It's almost certainly going to be on October 27th. Netanyahu is slated to lose as of now, but I don't ever count Netanyahu out. He's wily as hell. And I think he needs the war to restart, essentially. If the war restarts, I think you will see a rebound in Israeli public opinion. President Trump's public approval will likely go into the shredder. These are, completely disentangled variables at this point. But that's why he and his allies are going to push this. And so they're going to try to scare the White House. They're going to try to scare them any way possible. And they've really gone for kind of the red card. They have produced an intelligence report that alleges that Iran is trying to assassinate the president of the United States. Now, look, hard to prove a negative. It's entirely possible that there is some segment of Iranian society that meets about this and talks about potential plots. That's kind of part and parcel of going to war with a country. But the idea that they're really that close and the idea that Iran is this major menacing threat to the United States is completely overstated. Now, look, is their regime, governed like Belgium? Is it Slovenia? It is not. It is relatively unpopular autocracy. But we have probably made this autocracy more popular with the younger people in the country. All this stuff that the old people were talking about the 1980s and the Iran-Iraq War. Now the young people understand the apparent reason that the Islamic Republic exists. Yeah. We've created more enemies than we've destroyed.
We've ginned up Persian nationalism. Okay, this deadline, before I let you go, this deadline today, President Trump said, hey, I want you to announce that it can't be disparate, because they're arguing now they're disparate parts, hardliners over there. As we said, you can't find anybody to negotiate with because you shattered them, so they're all separate. But the president is saying, hey, you got to, by the close of business, on Saturday, I got to hear that Hormuz is going to be free. Am I correct?
That's what they're saying. I don't know how real that is. I think additionally, I don't know how real the request was. The Iranians officially deny it. So it's possible that a faction of the Iranians reached out to them and another faction doesn't know or opposes it, or that the U.S. is fibbing here. But I think we need some sort of accommodation in Oman. It's about 7 p.m. in Muscat right now. And I think hopefully these talks are generative insofar as that goes.
Kurt, hang on 1 second. I just want to give all your coordinates when we get back, because I think Americans sort of now more than ever where people should go. Tax Network USA. If we got a CR, that means massive budget deficits. 866-513-5516. Call today to get your discovery call. Scott Besson's in charge of the IRS. He's been told, hey, we got to get every penny that's owed to us. Make sure you understand exactly what you owe. Go to Tax Network USA today. Find out.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Look, when we talk about the country's finances this week, you're going to understand that Scott has a mandate from the president. The president's aspirational goal is to do away with income taxes. That is quite aspirational. That ain't happening right now, and particularly the first 9 months of this year, $1.4 trillion deficit. That's the count of Treasury. Money good from Treasury, $1.4 trillion. It'll be over $2 trillion by the end of the fiscal year. Guess we just started the last quarter of that. I'll discuss more of this, but find out where you stand with the IRS. 866-513-5516. This is one of the offers that they do to set up. Find out. You get a discovery call with Tax Network USA. Go take advantage of it. Find out exactly where you stand with the IRS, particularly if you've got a letter. You have to take action on this. You just can't put it in the drawer. You got to take action. This is simply the best way to initiate the program. 866-513-5516. Find out exactly where you stand with the IRS. Boom. Do it today. Kurt, you're the American Conservative, and it's a renowned and revered journal, magazine, online, etc. Right? Started by one of the greats, the lions of the conservative movement that always stood up for America and really knew American patriotism. Could tie it back to every patriot's grave, Pat Buchanan, every patriot's grave back to the founding in the Revolution. Why do people that say they're conservatives like Tel Aviv Levin, why do these people hate you? You're such a mild-mannered, nice young man, but particularly hate American Conservative and really hate Pat Buchanan. Why is that?
Because he was right. And unfortunately, the country didn't take his advice in the 90s, and we paid the price for it in the era of globalization. But his prescription, his recipe is still readily available now. And so it's this dangerous stuff for people who want to keep the old guard neocon slop continuing. You know, I mean, the magazine was founded in 2002 by conservatives and friends against the Iraq War, helmed around Pat, but also Scott McConnell, really the first editor, and Taki, whose magazine we actually incidentally recently acquired, and so kind of brought him back home. And so it is almost a quarter century now of prescience. And frankly, a lot of the ideas that Donald Trump himself ran on in 2016, and this is a well-substantiated story. I don't know President Trump to apologize to anyone other than maybe Melania after Access Hollywood, but actually Trump, the reporting is that he called Pat Buchanan in the summer of 2016, right before you became on the campaign, and apologized for the nasty things that he said about Pat in the Reform Party nomination in 2000. By 2016, Trump had gotten the right idea of giving up on the Reform Party and just taking over the Republican Party.
Amen. And that we did, although they're fighting back on that. Kurt, where do people go to get to the magazine, all the great articles, and where are they following you on social media? You're putting up brilliant commentary the entire time. And folks, this thing is not getting less dangerous. The President of the United States has kind of put a dead hand warning out there of massive missile strikes if he's assassinated. Also, they've given a deadline, whether you blow through the deadline or not. He says, hey, I got to hear from you by close of business today on the Strait of Hormuz. And if they're meeting down there in Oman, trust me, the pirates that control the Hormuz, I don't think are coming out with okay, fine. Everybody goes, we're not going to charge because they're pirates. Kurt Mills, where do people go?
Yeah, www.theamericanconservative.com. You can also subscribe to the print vertical. And you can find my own personal work, that represents the firms at Kurt Mills, at CURTMILS on X and the web. Thank you.
Amazing work. Just amazing work, sir. Always. 866-513-5516. Make sure running massive deficits. Make sure that you know what you owe the IRS and what they're going to force out of you, because they will try to force it out of you unless you get somebody like Tax Network USA on your side. Mike Lindell, I think we're coming to the truth about machines. Let me say that over the next week or so. But I just want you to summarize for a minute before I talk about the deal and you run for governor. The price you have paid, sir, you and your company and these hardworking people at MyPillow, the price you have paid to stand in the breach and say that there's something wrong with these machines, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it, that this country cannot go on as the constitutional republic that's been bequeathed to us from generation after generation after generation. We have a crisis. And the crisis is we have people that hate the sovereignty of this country, that are flooding the zone with an invasion of foreigners, both under scam legal programs, but mainly illegal aliens. And they've rigged the election system to continue to steal it. And they're not above putting Peter Navarro in prison or Steve Bannon in prison, and particularly Tina Peters in prison for 9 years. Sir, what is the cost that you have borne, and do you think that fight was worth it?
Absolutely, Steve. You know, from day one, back in January of 21, when I got my first evidence, I have said from the beginning, we have to melt them down and turn them into prison bars. We have a big problem now. We probably have not enough machines to melt down with all the prisoners we need to put behind bars. But this has cost, I have put tens of millions of dollars over the last 5.5 years. Once you see what people like Tina and myself have seen, you never let up on it, because it's the American dream will be gone. Our country will be gone. And with this fight, we built the Cause of America, the Election Crime Bureau. You see right now where one of the machine companies, Dominion, dropped their case against me just 2 weeks ago, and it was kind of what the timing was. Well, we just put 800 pages of evidence on LindellTV.com 2 days later. I mean, it was just the timing of this. It's all unraveling for all these machine companies, voting machine companies. Remember, 132 countries have banned them. Everybody, they banned them for a reason. And we were just over in South Korea, where they're worried about their elections. They have the same problems we have here. You have the last country, and it doesn't take much. In the summer of 22 in Argentina, one judge made a ruling and said, hey, we got to get rid of these. We need to secure our elections, go to paper ballots, hand counted. And they did. They said, but Judge, we can't do it in 4 months. Well, they beat the Netherlands by a month. They completely freed their country. You see the problems what we've had in Brazil with my good friend, President Bolsonaro, what they had down there. So this is what I've been fighting for. I don't regret a thing. I will keep fighting. Interesting enough, Steve, in the race I'm in for governor of Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar, you guys, her and I, we agreed in 2018 and 19 that we had to get rid of the voting machines. Amy was the loudest person in the country in the movie Kill Chain. Amy shouted to the rooftop. She named the companies, but she didn't get sued for billions of dollars. What did Amy do since then? After the 2020 election, Amy said, oh, there's no problems there. But she let $20 billion come into Minnesota from Washington, only to be shipped to Somalia in another fraud cases. And what did I do since then? I spent 60, 70, 80 million dollars fighting this fraud to help save our country, to secure our elections. And I will never back down. Steve, I've been saying that for 5.5 years. And they say the other day, they said, Mike, you feel vindicated now? I said, I'm not worried about feeling vindicated. I want to secure our elections and get to paper ballots, hand counted. So everybody wants this. And you see how they're fighting this, everybody, in the Save America Act. They're fighting this, a simple thing like, hey, let's have our citizens vote in our elections. I mean, that's about as simple as it comes. 80% of people want that, of the people, no matter what party you're in, and they can't even get that through. The president knows this is the most important thing. So all of the work with the War Room Posse, with everyone that's been fighting out there for our country, the most important thing is these midterm elections, we have to secure them, and we have to, or everything could be in vain. Steve, you see where they dropped the president just got rid of the election assistant committee or commission? That was a huge thing, everybody. These guys did nothing. They did absolutely nothing. I've been trying to get rid of that for a year. And they're gone. And so there's great hope. And I really think it's gonna, I've had to be patient. And you look up patience, you don't see my picture, but I've had to be patient. This is all on God's timing. Well, we're going to get to a great place.
I think Solomon and Pulte have just done an amazing job. These are two patriots, and all this is going to develop over the next week. Mike, we love what you've done. You're a patriot. But at the end of the day, Give us, what's the deal? Give us a deal. What are this is a deal you only do every 250 years. I want to make sure you get plenty of time to explain it.
And this is the end of the deal, everybody. This is the last weekend, the last 24 hours. This is our special that comes once every 250 years. And what's special is it? The best prices in history on made in the USA products. And there we have it. We have the MyPillow Premium where it all started. Those are at $19.98 with that promo code Warm Room for the king size, all the way down to $14.98 for the standard. You have our mattresses. People forget about our made in the USA mattress, the best mattresses you will ever sleep on. 10-year warranty, 6-month money-back guarantee. Remember, all the orders ship free right now. Free this weekend, the next 24 hours, your order ships for free. If you go to mypillow.com/war room, there you're going to see the other made in the USA products. You have the My Crosses, like the cross I wear, you save $80 there. You've got the body pillows, $39.98, bolster pillows, $19.98. You get free pillowcases with them. And the other sale that we have on the Mega 2 sale, there you're going to see our Giza Dream Sheets on sale. And you're going to see our 6-piece towel sets on sale, $34.98, the lowest price ever. And then you have like the Made in America socks. We have over 40 new products, but take advantage of the free shipping with promo code War Room. Call 800-873-1062. Operators standing by now, all my employees, and we've made it through, Steve, 5.5 years of fighting for our elections, and my pill is proud that we're still standing. And thank you, War Room Posse. Here's our thank you. It comes once every 250 years. Promo code War Room.
Thank you, brother. America's Health Share, freedomforhealth.org/Bannon. Go spend some time on this site. If you can't afford Obamacare anymore, you'll be able to afford this, a whole new method to make sure that you're insured. Check it out today. Do the due diligence, all up there on the site.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
We talk about affordability. I want to make sure people get this. The Obamacare thing is, I think 1/3 of the people have dropped off it. And right now, with people saying, hey, I can't make the mortgage payment and pay health care. This is why America's Health Share is a totally different way to look at things. freedomforhealth.org/Bannon. You get a month free, but that's not the key thing. The key thing is you understand this. Do due diligence. You got access to senior management. Make sure you understand this, because for certain people, this could be a true alternative to really get the cost of it under control. But you have to understand what it is. America Health Share. Go to freedomforhealth.org/Bannon. They got all the information up there. And you can talk to the senior people. So if you want to cut your insurance bill and you think it's time, then go do that. I've got 3 of my favorite people. I got Grace, I got Tage, I got Comstock. And with Grace, I've got a cold open for Grace Chung. Grace, you're out of hair and makeup pretty early this morning. Congratulations, ma'am. Starting the day early on the West Coast. Let's go ahead and play the cold open, and then we're going to bring in mouth-breathing imbecile, MBI, the Grace Chung. Let's play the cold open.
Stop it. So I would encourage the posse. Y'all been in so many fights. We've been in so many fights together, forcing conservative policies through in Texas, like firing the president of A&M or stopping the DMV from registering illegal aliens. Guys, I need your help one more time. Melt the phone lines of our governor, our lieutenant governor, and speaker. Tell them that you know they've got the power to stop giving birth certificates to illegal aliens, and you're sick and tired of your hard-earned tax dollars. You're sick and tired of Texans being taxed out of their homes to hand birth certificates to illegal aliens and the children of people who may well be foreign intelligence assets sent over here to get birth certificates to a child who maybe literally never stepped foot on American soil, left before they could walk, left or was flown out within hours or days of being born, yet they had the right to vote. They had the right to cast a vote 18 years later for the leader of the free world. This is not a fight that we should just sit around twiddling our thumbs for. Melt the phone lines again in Austin. Every state should do it. Stop giving birth certificates to illegal aliens, and let's make birth tourism a state-level felony. Let's act. Let's deliver results.
Okay, folks, you're gonna have work that you want to do coming from the show next week, but we need to be organized. One way we're going to help and assist you get organized totally free is Bill Blaster, which is the brainchild of Grace Chung. Grace, walk us through it. Why do we need people to download it? because there's going to be a ton of work to do next week in pushing out information, which this audience is going to be absolutely central to this. Grace Chung, how do we do it?
Yes, so Brian Harrison's interview on Thursday couldn't have been better timing because it highlights exactly why we've been working so hard on the next version of Bill Blaster. And he makes a really good point. A lot of the time we talk about Washington, but some of the biggest battles are happening at the state level, whether, it's election integrity, illegal immigration, birth tourism, like what Brian said. State legislators have enormous power. And so his message is simple. Our message is simple. Don't wait for Washington. Call your governor, call your lieutenant governor, call your state representative, call your state senators. And that's how grassroots pressures work. And speaking of making it easier for the posse to take action, you can see it on the screen now. So phase 1 was Congress in your pocket. Now phase 2 is the United States government and the state government in your pocket. Yeah. So when you heard Brian Harrison say, call Texas, instead of opening Google and trying to figure out who to contact, all you got to do is open Bill Blaster, tap Texas, or use the search function, and boom, you get Governor Abbott, Lieutenant Governor Patrick, Attorney General Paxton, Brian Harrison, who's expanded to all 50 states, every state representative, every state senator, governors, lieutenant governors, attorney generals, secretaries of state. And we've added state bill tracking. So remember, like I said, some of the biggest battles today aren't happening in Washington. They're happening in your own state, your own town, your own city. And if people don't know what's happening where they live, things get passed under the radar. And by the time you hear about it, it's already too late. And Bill Blaster changes that. So we've made it.
Yep.
Yes.
And look, it's for the state, it's for everything. Next week we're going to have to do state work. We're also going to do federal work. It's going to be pretty explosive on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to need everybody at the ramparts. And the easiest way to do it is that Grace and the team create a Bill Blast that gives you just total access to everything, totally free, but gives you immediate access. Correct, Grace?
Correct. We had Congress, federal, and now state. Everything is in there. The federal Congress bills, state bills, better notifications, easier to navigate. We added favorites, just a better experience all around. And I want to add, we're also building phase 3, and this is where it's going to get really exciting. And we're going to have roll call votes. We're going to have voting histories of all the members of Congress. We're going to have live updates of the House and the Senate, so you can get those updates. Amazing. It's going to have just better notifications, smarter alerts. Literally, government in your pocket is where we're headed. So action. You can download it. If you haven't downloaded it, go to warroom.org. And remember, that's your home base for all things War Room. You could download it there. Also, sign up for our newsletter and subscribe to our podcast. And if you're listening to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us a 5-star review, because every review helps us reach more people. And lastly, yes, go to shopwarroom.org. We just launched 4 brand new War Room America 250 designs, and it's at a lower price point so that everybody can celebrate at America's 250th all year round. And, we've got obviously Jenna, our awesome designer, and Steve's anniversary from Danbury Prison was just, last week or so. Yeah, last week. And she's the one that designed Next Man Up shirt. So, and that was a huge popular design. And she'll have more designs coming up. So make sure to check that out.
Can we get MBI merchandise? Can we get Mouth Breathing Imbecile? Can we get MBI merchandise on War Room?
Jenna is working on not only MBI, but also Baby Honey Badger. So she sent us a few, and we just love it. And it'll be up on the site pretty soon. So she's working on a ton of stuff, and please check that.
How did you get the handle MBI, Mouth Breathing Imbecile? You're one of the most humble, sweet, Christian, devout. How did you get the handle Mouth Breathing Imbecile, ma'am? You're one of the smartest women I've ever met, one of the smartest people. How did that happen?
Well, my mom likes to say the most beautiful individual. So we've changed that now here. So
Most beautiful
um,
individual. By the way, your mom's the best. She's a better marketer than Trump. I love that. Most beautiful individual. We got to bounce one more time. Where do people go? I need people to download totally free Bill Blaster because you're going to have a lot of work and we need to be force multipliers. Starting Monday, folks. Where do you
just
go?
go to warroom.org. That's your home base for everything. Bill Blaster, newsletter, podcast, everything.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Up early on the West Coast. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Grace Chung. Most beautiful individual, of course. Grace's mom. Brilliant. Mom and dad, two of the best. Tage Gill. We had Kurt Mills on. He was talking about Nikki Haley and others. And people saying, hey, when they say finish a job, they don't mean ground troops. But listen, how are you going to finish a job? You're not going to do a strategic bombing. Your thoughts about the Iran campaign so far, sir?
I think we need to de-escalate, Steve. And we were talking about ground invasion yesterday. That's standard U.S. doctrine. You know, it's going to be shock and awe, special ops, ground invasion. But once the ground invasion goes, that's when the forever war starts. So I think right now we need to de-escalate and move some of our troops out of the Gulf, work on a diplomatic solution. But the problem is, at this point, Iran is looking for a fight, Israel's looking for a fight, and we're trapped in it. I know Trump wants to de-escalate, and I know Trump wants an off-ramp, but if we stay in this war, conflict, whatever you want to call it, it's going to keep escalating, whether he likes it or not. That's the problem. I think we need a off-ramp, and Iran has been living under sanctions, oil embargoes, since the 80s. They live under pain. As we can see, we bombed the hell out of them, and they continue to launch missiles every time we bomb them. So it's just going to keep escalating unless we de-escalate the situation and get out of it. That's what I think needs to happen.
So now you get assassination attempts, these rumors of assassination, plus the president's given them a close of business today to announce that they're out of the Strait of Hormuz business. Your thoughts about that, sir?
Yeah, we've already had 2 assassination attempts on President Trump. The Secret Service, they've ramped up their security profile big time. They just need to keep ratcheting it up and protect the president. I think all U.S. presidents are under danger, but especially U.S. Trump, because he wants to fight the swamp, he wants to fight Iran, and everybody's after him. So Secret Service is there for a reason. They just need to ramp it up, do their job, and protect him. These things shouldn't affect his decision making. Shouldn't affect the way we conduct our foreign policies. That's the Secret Service's job, is to protect him. So they need to do that, and they need to work with the FBI and make sure that nobody can get to him. That's the bottom line. Do their job.
Okay. Pivot now and talk to me about the greatest coffee ever made. Folks, you want to have a great rest of your Saturday? I'm about to introduce you to the guy who can do that. I'm a coffee, not just aficionado. I'm a coffee addict, right? I live on coffee. And when Tage first came to me with this idea, I said, Tage, there's a million guys, particularly service guys, that they're trying to make coffee, and most of it doesn't work. He goes, no. I got a method. Here's what we're going to do. Tage, you have come up with the best coffee ever made. I love this coffee. I can't get enough of it. Tell us how you make it. What's the theory behind the case? And how do people go see that people besides Tage Gill and Steve Bannon are saying it's great?
Yeah, when I was in SEAL teams, we always had the best gear, the best equipment. So I wanted to make the best coffee. And the way we roast it on a perforated drum. We don't burn the beans. That's the key. We don't burn the beans. And by doing that, you can drink it all straight black. You can actually enjoy the taste and the flavor of the coffee. So that's the key. And look at the website. We have almost 19,000 5-star reviews. And then there's reviews on Amazon. People actually love this coffee. We can't roast it fast enough. Every time we roast it, we blow through it, go out of stock, and then we got to roast more. But if you haven't tried it, try it. It is the best coffee out there. The breakfast blend was our first blend, and then we got the dark roast. We've got espresso. We've got pods. We've got a flavored coffee. We've got hats, mugs. But try the coffee. You'll be hooked. That's all I have to say. And the website is warpath.coffee. And for the War Room Posse, always use promo code War Room. Right now it's 15% off. It fluctuates with sales and holidays, but Warpath.coffee, promo code War Room. Read the reviews and try it.
It's fantastic. You've done a great job. Just read the reviews. How many 5-star reviews are we up to now?
Just under 19,000 on the website, but over 19,000 combined.
It's unbelievable. Just amazing. We
Yeah, people love it.
You can get it in retail. Where in Idaho? We're in Idaho.
You can get it in retail in Shields. We're in Shields in Meridian, Idaho, and Salt Lake City, and then we're about to go into Shields in Colorado Springs in the next couple of weeks. Wow. So it's slowly expanding.
We'll get you down there for the opening.
And then there's a couple other mom and pop stores that sell it throughout the country. They buy it from us wholesale, but I don't know the names of all of them.
Okay, we'll get you next week. Tage, thanks for doing this. Thanks for taking your time out on Saturday.
Thank you, Steve.
I want to thank our other sponsor, Birch Gold. Okay, folks, here's what's going to happen. There's going to be a CR. We're probably going to get it jammed into us, I think, before the August recess, but they may come back and be cute and do it afterwards. But we're going to have a $2 trillion deficit this year, as we called, until you get serious about cutting costs. Want to see how impact that has on the purchase power of the dollar? Go to birchgold.com/Bannon. The end of the dollar empire. Read it and study it today.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
I want Robin Parker SIG. I want to thank the SIGs, Real America's Voice, for the coverage, wall to wall, gavel to gavel of the Charlie Kirk assassination grand jury or preliminary hearing, evidentiary hearing. We're going to have a lot more programming, and we're going to call a lot of audibles coming this week. That's why I give Bill Blaster. Just download, it's free. You're going to get called to the ramparts. You'll see what I'm talking about. More of a develop on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Also, all the happy talk we get about the intelligence community, and you're going to see what the intelligence community has done to this country. Not just the terrible intelligence about 9/11 in Iraq and Afghanistan, all of it, just dead wrong and everything. Dead wrong on Ukraine, dead wrong on October 7th, dead wrong in Iran, people making it up and lying. It's awful. It's terrible. It's time now. Patriots have got to address this. We just can't continue on like this. The IC community is out of control with people that hate this country, and particularly they hate the American citizens. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. But the coverage wall to wall last week, I think, was great, and there's going to be more intense coverage this week. So make sure, I think, clear a little bit of your schedules. You're going to want to be involved. And I want to thank John Solomon, Bill Pulte. John Solomon, continue doing the show with Amanda Head and working, 20 hours a day at the White House's temporary assignment over there. I think it's a huge compliment to this network that Charlie Kirk and John Solomon, those two shows, are both associated with, and we're on the channel of Real America's Voice. That shows you the quality of Real America's Voice. Pound for pound, this network is the best network in the world. And I say it as a massive consumer of news and information. You can't match this lineup. You just can't on the real news that gets you all day long. It's unparalleled. And I say it's Fox's TV for stupid people. If you watch that, you're just getting a recycled RNC talking points, right? You're getting Scott Jennings in a different way. It's just mindless. It's gotten this nation into where it has not stopped. The people trying to destroy this nation is not. I want to thank preparewithbannon.com. Make sure you go there. My Patriot Supply, we got our own landing page, preparewithbannon.com. Tons of information up there. Now you get $250 off the 6-month emergency food supply. $250 off. Preparewithbannon.com. So My Patriot Supply, like Rickards, like Birch Gold, everybody's giving special access to the War Room Posse. Why? They want you guys, they understand that you guys understand quality, and once you become a customer, you're a customer for life. Preparewithbannon.com is the site. Go check it out today. It's My Patriot Supply. They got all these specials up there, and a special one right now, $250 off the 6-month emergency food supply. Be prepared. It's called common sense. Trevor Comstock, I'm so proud of, the reason I'm proud of you, if you decide, you came to me and we talked about it years ago, you wanted to build a company that was American made, and you were prepared to make sure, hey, so we may have lower profits, but profits ain't everything. I want to build a company that lasts for a long time, provides great products. American design, American created, and American made. And you've taken the hit on margin, but it's working because, once again, just like Tage, we don't sell it. It sells itself once you go to the site and see the comments people made. So I'm proud of these young entrepreneurs that stick to exactly what the plan is, and that is to be America first. Trevor Comstock, what do you got for us today?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Steve. So real quick, I've been at a family reunion in Michigan all week. I didn't get a chance to come on earlier, but I did want to extend the 4th of July discount through today. A lot of people are asking about it. So you can still use code July at checkout for 20% off any one-time order. And then with that too, I just wanted to highlight our grass-fed beef liver. I haven't talked about in a while. And I know a lot of people still aren't familiar with the benefits of beef liver, and they don't know how powerful it is when it comes to overall nutrition. But I always like to say it's like nature's multivitamin for a pretty good reason. Mainly just because it is one of the most powerful superfoods on the planet, and it's packed with highly bioavailable nutrients. So you'll get things like iron, zinc, vitamin A, B12, CoQ10, folate. The list kind of goes on and on, but these are all essential for things like healthy skin, hair, immune support, heart, as well as brain function. And then, of course, if you go through the reviews, I think the thing that people love most about the beef liver is that they get that natural energy boost specifically from that product. And that's mainly just because it is a whole food supplement. So your body can actually obtain and absorb these nutrients as opposed to just flushing them out like if you're taking like a synthetic multivitamin. So with that, you get that natural energy boost that people always love and rave about. So I just wanted to touch on that product specifically. It's been our baby. It's what we started with and still our number one product that I think people love the most.
Where do people? I want people to go and see all the products and immerse themselves, but I also want them to see the reviews. The reviews here are very important because just like Tage, just like Catherine O'Neill's beef, it's really what the people that are the customers, what they come back and say. And I think it's so powerful. Your customers are repeat customers, but they love these products enough they want to go on and tell people about them. Where do they go?
Yeah, 100%. So you can go to sacredhumanhealth.com. As I mentioned, we extended that 4th of July discount just for the War Room and just for today. So you can use code July at checkout for 20% off any one-time order. And as always, if you have any questions, just send us an email. We'll get back to you.
Trevor, thank you so much. Thank you for taking time away today to come, and I hope the family reunion was fantastic. You've got a great family.
Thank you.
The Comstocks are quite unique. What a family. I mean, the list of accomplishments has been crazy, insane. I want to thank our sponsors. By the way, we're catching up today. Notice we had a lot of sponsors on. We half of the show, over 50% of the show we didn't do last week to cover Charlie Kirk. And I want to thank, that's the special sponsors we've got. They talk to them and say, yes, you're going to show gavel. Charlie Kirk is one of the greatest young men I think this country's ever produced. And just an extraordinary individual. So I want to thank our sponsors, particularly Birch Gold. Make sure you take your phone out, text Bannon, BANNON at 989898. You get the ultimate guide for investing in gold and precious metals. Find out about gold. Find out why gold has been a hedge. There's going to be a little turbulence ahead of us. Turbulence in the Middle East, turbulence, Ukraine, geopolitically. I think next week, maybe even a little turbulence with the Chinese Communist Party. Next week, going to be a big week, folks. I'll be up on Getter all weekend. Make sure you stay close to Grace Chung's Twitter feed and my Getter feed. And Monday morning, make sure you're here at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time and throughout the day. Next week is a go week for the War Room Posse. Some things you've been working on for years, I think a lot of it's coming to fruition. Also, we're going to get Tina Peters, I think, hopefully kick off the show on Monday. We're going to leave you right now with One Nation, this massive hit by Gruber and Pastor Laurie. I'm up on Getter all weekend. We'll see you back here Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, when you will be back in the War Room.